Nothing new when it comes to Red Bull. Absolute dominance. After the first couple of races, when the team struggled with reliability issues, Verstappen and Perez have been on a tear to secure the top two spots in the Drivers' Championship, with Verstappen being up 93 points from Perez and 98 points from Leclerc with 8 races remaining in the season. The new regulations implemented in this season seemed to not bother Red Bull at all, which is why they have a very comfortable lead in both the championships. However, from what we've seen in Spa and Hungary, it seems like teams are raising some eyebrows when it comes to the legality of the RB18 car, especially with Verstappen smashing everyone ahead of him and having a 20 to 30 km/h faster car on the Camel Straight in Spa compared to other cars. Ferrari has questioned the legality of Red Bull's car in Spa, and is it possible that Red Bull is truly illegal? Stay with us to find out. The Belgian GP was truly a walk in the park for Verstappen. After the Dutchman has dominated through the free practice sessions, it was evident that he'll fight for podium finishes after starting P15 due to penalties for taking a new engine. However, his P15 quickly turned into P13 since both AlphaTauri drivers started from the back of the grid and were ahead of him on the grid, and after lap 1, Verstappen was already P8. He took the lead in lap 12, an astonishing feature from Verstappen, and everything else was just too easy for him. But even Red Bull fans have questioned that Red Bull's car, and is it possible that we're seeing new Mercedes from the 2014 season, a car that's been able to win 8 consecutive Constructors and 7 Drivers' Championships? Before we go into why Ferrari is questioning Red Bull's upgrades, let's talk about the most significant upgrade that seems like has been brought to Spa, although it was scheduled to be brought in Singapore in October. Red Bull has developed a lighter chassis, 45 kilograms lighter compared to its predecessor, and it's truly a marvelous piece of engineering that seemed to have propelled Red Bull even further in the championship. Red Bull has struggled a lot with weight, and they were one of the heaviest cars on the grid. The team was well over 8 kilograms over the minimum weight of 798 kilograms and is now just around 4 kgs lighter compared to its original weight. The lighter monocoque is not just lighter but also stiffer. What's even more interesting is that teams usually don't want to introduce aerodynamic packages prior to entering low downforce circuits such as Spa and Monza, but this hasn't been the case with Red Bull as it seems. Numerous reports have said that during FP1 and FP2, Verstappen and Perez were mounted with a new chassis, and that is why the difference was huge between them and the rest of the pack. This has been highlighted by multiple team bosses, Toto Wolff being one of them, who also added that Verstappen, being in a league of his own, is surely something they aren't satisfied with. But what is this monocoque made of? The result was achieved by applying a different construction to the chassis when it comes to the cross-ply of different layers of carbon fiber and not the design itself. Adrian Newey, the chief engineer of Red Bull, has proved his genius mind yet again by placing the fibers in a different orientation. By doing this, the same stiffness and strength values as the previous version were obtained, but with a reduced thickness in many places of the chassis. As a result, the new chassis is significantly lighter. Huge thanks go to the finite elements tools, which the Red Bull engineers have investigated thoroughly, and to software that virtually evaluates the stresses by dividing the body into several actions. All of this enables the team to simulate the resistance of the structure and its stiffness as the structure varies, with the main focus being on the orientation of the fibers of the different carbon layers. Fans have raised some eyebrows when it comes to the money, as Red Bull has brought upgrades to many circuits as of now. There is a brief reminder for all of the fans that with the inflation going over 3%, teams have been granted €4 million as additional help to the budget cap. It has been reported that Red Bull spent around half of this budget in order to develop the monocoque, and if they did indeed use it in Spa, then those €2 million is well spent money for them. Binotto has questioned the legality of the Red Bull car, saying, "I myself have no idea what they're doing, whether they have a lighter chassis or not, but the budget cap is always a concern. In addition to technical and sporting regulations, we also have to deal with financial regulations, and that can also cause differences between the teams purely by how those regulations are interpreted. We need a strong FIA who is on top of this, because otherwise those rules are not fair and equal for everyone. But as I said, I can't judge Red Bull's lighter chassis and whether they have it or not, but I do know that Ferrari couldn't do that because of the budget cap," said Binotto, who continued to speak about other teams' possibilities to do what Red Bull has done, adding, "I would be very surprised if another team turns out to be able to do that, and if it is, then we come back to the regulations. Are they fair enough? Do they see equal enough for everyone, and is it adequately monitored? These are big question marks. The rules are still very new and are only checked by a small number of people, so that has to be improved with a view to the future. It would be a bad thing if the championship is determined by financial regulations and not through a technological battle, finished Binotto. Ferrari was yet again in the center of the attention with the newest blunder as they pitted Leclerc when he didn't have a safe advantage over Alonso in order to steal a point out of Verstappen for the fastest lap. Alonso passed Leclerc on the Camel Straight, and even though Leclerc was able to pass him, he was handed a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Instead of stealing 1 point of Verstappen, Leclerc gifted him 2 more, and it seems like Ferrari just isn't able to do one race as they should. They were literally consulting Leclerc and asking him which tires they should use for the next stint, as if the tactician that is working in there is just a statue or a figure. When it comes to Ferrari's performance, Binotto also talked about a problem that appeared in their garage that just seems to make them much slower compared to the Red Bulls. I think that today the Red Bull is simply a fast car compared to what we've got in terms of overall efficiency, because Spa is where you need efficiency from the aerodynamics and the power unit. But more than that, we have a lot of tyre degradation, which we need to look into, as they have also been stronger in terms of tyre degradation. Certainly, the gap we have seen today is not the gap that we will have in the next races. I think Spa is always amplifying the gaps because it's a long track. We hope in the next races to be closer. But tyre degradation has been the biggest element affecting the performance today, which we need to understand and try to address as soon as possible, because it will be important for the next races. Finished Binotto, as this problem was also emphasized by Carlos Sainz, who told Verstappen in the cool-down room that he had lots of troubles after lap 3 with the soft tires, something that Max has been able to utilize perfectly in his favor. Unfortunately, it was harder than expected. We got a good start. I got a good restart after the safety car, but the pace was just not there. We had a lot of overheating on the tires. We were sliding around a lot. The first 2 laps were strong, but then we immediately went into high degradation, and then I realized that we were degrading more than what we should. Red Bull, Max and Checo were in a league of their own today, and unfortunately we couldn't put up a stronger fight and we had to survive. We will have to learn why we were not so competitive at this track, said Sainz, who at one point was in danger to lose his place to Russell, who was gaining on him in the last stages of the race. What's even more satisfying for Red Bull fans is that after Mercedes accused them of cheating when it comes to the flexibility of their floors, they went on and proved that the regulations only helped them instead of regressing them down. Judging by the qualifications, it seems like Mercedes shot themselves in the foot with the technical directive that they pushed so hard for, as the team was around 1.8 seconds slower than the pole-setting lap for Verstappen. Even George Russell has said after the qualifying session that he expects Verstappen to breeze past the competition and win from P14, something that many of us expected given the fact that Sainz was 0.6 seconds behind in qualification for P2. Some petty comments were added by Helmut Marko towards Toto Wolff, cynically thanking him for changing the regulations and making Red Bull even faster. But the situation is not good in Mercedes as we speak, and the pessimistic approach that was present in the team prior to the recent success in France and Hungary has turned back. According to Toto, the difference is too big and Mercedes aren't understanding something that other teams do. I don't think you can be satisfied with Verstappen being in a league of his own. We need to really find out how we can improve our cars. The gap is just too big, said Wolff, who also spoke about Hamilton's comments regarding the difficulty of the car to be driven. That's just the reality. I think we need to accept that. The car is very difficult to drive and hasn't got the pace on a single lap, so we just need to work ourselves out. There will be lots of sticking their heads together, setting the sights on not only the next few races but also next season. I hope that at a track that would suit us more, we are more competitive, but we mustn't be too much between depression and mania. Today would be all the reason to be depressed, but in Hungary 3 weeks ago, we were thinking, yes, absolutely, we're going to win a race, so we'll never give up, said Wolff after his team notched the 15th race in a row that a driver of theirs hasn't stepped in the highest place on the podium. We're in the middle of a triple header, and it seems like things aren't looking well for Mercedes and Ferrari. Although a battle between these two is still enraging for second place in the Constructors' Championship and the Drivers' Championship, it's very unlikely that both of them will challenge Red Bull anytime soon. Ferrari just can't seem to get their strategy right, and Mercedes are threatened to have the first season where they haven't been able to win a single race with just 8 races remaining on the calendar. The next GP is in the Netherlands, and rest assured that Verstappen will be more than motivated to dominate on his home soil.